Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to show you how to add a page of automated content to your WordPress blog in under 15 minutes. The page is going to use content that you pick from the sources that you pick from social media and RSS feeds. So it'll be content that's perfectly tailored to your audience. It's going to be exactly what you choose from the sources you choose, but after you set it up once, it'll run itself and update with new content as often as every hour right to your WordPress blog. So first, let's install the Curator plugin in our WordPress blog. So you're going to go to your dashboard in WordPress and go over to the plugins area to add new. And just search for Curator. It's K-U-R-A-T-U-R, and it's the only plugin with that name, so it's going to be the only thing that comes up. There it is, Curator Connect. That's what we call the plugin. Install that by clicking on Install Now. And then activate it. It's a really small, really lightweight plugin. It doesn't add very much to your installation at all. And there it is. And you'll see it's added a menu item over here in your left menu called Curator. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's super simple. It is a single page with a single field where you're going to paste a key code that you get from Curator, a radio button, and a button. That's all you have to deal with. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is go over to Curator and create a page that we're going to add to the WordPress blog. So I'm going over to curator.com. You can create an account using your Facebook credentials or a Twitter account if you want to. If you use your Twitter account, Curator is going to jumpstart you by creating a page for you based upon the content in your Twitter account, what you do in your Twitter account. So that's kind of a nice, fast way to get jump started. Today I'm going to create an account using an email address. So they have a really super simple sign up process. You just create a username, and then select a password. And confirm it. And then you just need an email address. They're not going to make you wait to confirm your email address. To get going, you can go right in, and as you can see, I'm already starting to create my page. So the first thing you do is enter a title, and just know that the title that you enter here over at curator.com is not terribly important, because you're going to actually use WordPress's page title function to give your page a title. This will give your page a title inside the Curator system, so I should probably name it something that makes sense. But you're going to give it its actual page title over at WordPress after we import it. So here you're going to tell the system how often you want to go out and get fresh content from the sources that you're going to pick. So I'm going to say every hour, 1. If I enter 1 here, Curator's going to go and query all my different sources for fresh content every hour, once per hour. You could also, if you wanted to, paste in your Google Analytics tracking code and or your Chartbeat tracking code here. But again, when you're using the plugin for WordPress, this isn't really necessary, and it may even be a bad idea because you've already got tracking probably on your WordPress blog, and you don't want anything you put here to conflict with what you have on WordPress, so you can leave those empty. Click Save Setting. We're going to go right in now to setting up the page. The theme that you pick, again, is not important, because when you import your page using the Curator plugin over at WordPress, it's going to inherit your look and your feel and your theme from your WordPress blog. So you can just pick anything under the theme and not worry about it and click Save Setting. It's going to inherit all the styles from your WordPress blog. Now it brings you next to Layout when you click Save Setting and Themes. Now we're in Layout, and layout is important. The layout will be carried over to your WordPress blog. So pick a layout that you really want. You have your choice of 2 or 3 columns, and they are arranged in different ways. I'm going to select layout 1, which is 3 columns with the widest column in the middle. Click Save Setting. And now you're in the interface where you create the page the way you want it with the content where you want it. Here on the right is your layout as it's going to look on your page when it's live. Over on the left are these menu items that tell you the different kinds of content that you can put over here on your page. A single Twitter user, a Twitter list, you could pull content using a Twitter hashtag or keywords, or mentions of a particular Twitter account. There's a little top followers unit, which I'll show you in a second. You have your choice of using content from a Facebook page or by searching for keywords on posts on Facebook pages. And lastly, any RSS feed that's out there. So the way that you do this is you just click and hold on one of these items that you want to use and you drag it and drop it over onto your layout. So I just selected single Twitter user. What that means is I want to pull content onto my page here from a single Twitter user account. And I can use any Twitter account that's public. I don't have to use my own. I can use any Twitter account that isn't locked. So I am going to enter my own, and what you just do here is you enter the ampersand, which is, the typical Twitter format, and the name of the Twitter account I want to use. That's it. Here are these fields for filtering. You can filter the content coming from this Twitter account in much the same way that you might filter, say, a Google search. So I could say, I only want to include content from this source that includes all of these words, or this exact phrase, or any of these words, or none of these words. So you can exclude content if you use this field. You can say, I don't want any content that uses the word hot dogs, the words hot dogs. What I like to do, and what I recommend, is up here in all of these words, enter HTTP:. What that is going to do is it's going to filter only for content that includes a link to something on the web. Now the reason I'm doing this is 2 reasons. It'll filter out posts that are just a little statement, which, as we all know, any of us who are familiar with Twitter know that what you can see a lot are things like, ooh, just had the best latte ever, right? And that's not particularly useful content for your blog. So you want to filter that out. If you put HTTP: in this all these words field, it'll filter out those kinds of tweets because they won't include a link to anything on the web. The other reason is because when Curator encounters a post with a link to something on the web, it follows the web link and it goes and it gets the picture and the title of the post and a text summary. So what this is going to do is ensure that you have a lot of nice pictures on your Curator page to create a more engaging page that'll keep your users around longer, probably cause them to click through more on the items. Just makes for a much nicer looking page. So I recommend you do this on most, if that's what you're looking for, more images, a prettier page, put HTTP in this field. Okay, moving on. Down here under linked content display settings, what we can do here is turn different features of the content on and off. So you can turn it off. You can say you can turn off displaying the image. So if it's followed something that's on the web, you can say I don't want the image, or I do want the image. The text snippet is basically the text summary of the item. So again, if it's following something and getting something that's on the web, and you don't want to have the text summaries show up for some reason, you can turn that off. And finally, one thing I do like to use a lot is this one, display sharer's profile image. This is the avatar from Twitter. This is the person who shared the item. It's their avatar. So I'm going to be showing content all from Love Punk Protocol. That's the Twitter account I'm pulling from. So all the content is going to be shared by this account. So I'm going to turn off the share's profile image, because otherwise what you're going to get is you're going to get that person's avatar on every single item on your page over and over and over because that's who the sharer of the item was. And there's really no need for that when it's all from the same person. So I'm going to turn that off to make for a cleaner page. And here, display most recent posts at a time, I can enter a number from 1 to 25. No decimals. So what I'm going to do is enter the number 5 here. And what that means is I want to display the 5 most recent posts from the Love Punk Protocol Twitter account. I want to display its 5 most recent posts. So I'm going to display the 5 most recent posts from the Love Punk Protocol Twitter account, and I'm only going to display items that have a link to something on the web, and I'm not going to show the Love Punk Protocol Twitter avatar in any of those posts. Finally, allow search to follow links. You can turn search engine following, spidering, indexing on and off. So for some reason, if you don't want to be the search engines to know that you're linking out to these items that are on your curator page, you can turn that off. I'm going to leave it on because I want the search engine benefits of that. Click Save, and now it's adding this item to your page. So now that I've dug into that interface pretty deep, we're going to go through and add a few things. The interface for all the different Twitter items is pretty much the same thing we saw before. So this is a Twitter list, and I'm going to show you this specifically because it has a little bit of work you have to do in here. So you can pull the content from any Twitter list that's public out there on Twitter. So I'm going to go over to my Twitter account, and I'm in a list that I created on my Twitter account called Good. What you need to do is go to the list, navigate to the list on Twitter, be looking at the actual page that shows the list. You have to come up here into the URL window and copy the URL starting from the account name of the Twitter user, or what's called the Twitter handle. So as you know, my Twitter account is called Love Punk Protocol. So that's where you can see this list belongs to Love Punk Protocol. So you're going to start there with that Twitter username and copy everything that comes after it. So Love Punk Protocol /lists/good. Copy all that, come back to WordPress, and paste that in that first field. Now, Twitter just yesterday made a little change on us so that we haven't had a chance yet to adjust to. So you may need to go in and delete the word lists and the backslash that comes after it. Just like that. Okay? I'm going to do it again just so you can see. Right now it says Love Punk Protocol lists/good. So any Twitter list that you put in here is going to be formatted like this. It's going to be the Twitter username, the word lists and a slash, and then the name of the list. You need to delete the word lists and the slash that comes after it, so that all you're left with is the username and the list name. And eventually you won't have to do that. In the next week or two we'll get that fixed. I'm going to leave in HTTP here because I only want stuff that includes a link to the web. I'm going to turn the sharer's profile image on in this one because it's going to be all kinds of different people sharing. And I'm going to do the 3 most recent posts from that list. Okay, so an interesting one that we have is top followers, the top followers unit. I'm going to drag and drop that here. The only thing you have to enter here is the username of a Twitter account. Any public Twitter account can be entered here. I'm going to enter my own. And what Curator does is it goes and it determines who your top followers are based upon who retweets you the most, who favorites your stuff the most, who mentions you the most, that kind of thing. And it'll list them automatically in this section here. So let's move on and let's add some Facebook page content. So I'm going to drag the Facebook page unit over here. The first time you do this, it's going to ask you to connect your Facebook account. It only takes a second, and then you're ready. That's required by Facebook. So you know, we have to have your approval to access Facebook on your behalf. Okay, so you need to know the name of the Facebook page. So usually it's pretty obvious. So for instance, the Skittles Facebook page is just called Skittles, so you can just enter that there. And again, you can do the same kind of filtering that you could do in those Twitter content units. So I am going to filter for content from the web. I don't know why those got turned off. And I'm going to turn off the share as profile image since everything will be from Skittles. And I'm just going to do the one most recent post from Skittles. You can also pull content from Facebook based upon keywords. Now it's going to just search Facebook pages, public Facebook pages for those keywords. That's where the content will come from. So let's say I want everything about Lady Gaga. I'm just going to leave all this blank because I just want to hear what people are saying about Lady Gaga. And I'll do the one most recent post that says something about Lady Gaga on a Facebook page. Okay, RSS feeds. Add an RSS feed unit to your page. Now this is, for anybody who doesn't know what an RSS feed is, you probably do, but just in case, this is the way that most blogs make syndication available of their content, and almost any blog out there and any website that's using a blog-based content management system is going to have an RSS feed available. So it's a great way to pull in content. What you need up here to make an RSS feed work on Curator is the URL, the web address of the feed itself, which is different from the URL of the website that you're getting the RSS feed from. The feed itself has its own URL. Let's go and get a feed from a website that I like. I'm going to click on the RSS link here. A lot of sites make this, easily available and easy to find using this little orange symbol, the main feed. So once I'm there, I just want to come up into the URL window and copy that whole URL. Come back to Curator and just paste it into that URL window. That's that field. It's that easy. I don't need to really filter for stuff just from the web on an RSS feed because that's what RSS is web pages. So if you want to filter out for certain words, you can, or filter in for only certain words, you can. And I'm going to do the one most recent post from this RSS feed. Okay, that's simple. Now what I'm going to show you is the part that I think is really great because it's super for SEO. You can add a thing called header text to your page. And this is where you can put in headings for your different content units that you just added to your page. It's just text. Header text, a header text unit carries the H1 tag, which means the search engines are going to see this as very important. So you should use this header text unit to basically engineer your page for the keywords that you want to be found for on the search engines. And even though I'm not being very clever about my headings, you get the idea. So you can use this, you can really use this to your advantage to make sure that this page is nice and rich for those keywords you want to be found for on the search engines. Okay, so that was easy and that's done. You can add subheader text, which is basically smaller and carries the H2 tag, so it's another great way to add more support. Finally, there's a text unit. I'm going to drag and drop one of these over here. The text unit is just like body text. It will carry that same weight on your page as far as the search engines are concerned. So you can use this field to add text that will support the search engine optimization that you want to do. Use the keywords in here that you want to And all these text units that I just added are static. So they're there, they stay there all the time, whereas the content that's inside these content units will always be updating with fresh stuff. So it's a really useful way to search engine optimize this page. Now, what we can do is preview our page up here with this preview button. It's going to open in a new tab and see if we like what we've made. I like this. I just want to add some header text to this. I didn't add header text above my top followers unit, and I think it looks kind of off balance. So I'm going to close this tab. I'm going to go back and quickly add a header text above that unit. And then preview it again. And there it is. That looks much better. So I like this. I think this looks good. It is ready for prime time. I think if I was being really picky, I might go and add more here, like maybe display more from the Lady Gaga search to fill this out better. But in general, I really like the way this looks. Lots of pretty pictures. So it's ready. It's ready for me to import it over into my WordPress blog. So let's do that. So what we need to do is come back over to the Curator workspace, and there's a tab here called Publish Share. Click on Publish Share, and down here at the bottom it opens right up into the WordPress publishing page. At the bottom in this field called API Export Content to WordPress, so just look for WordPress. Just click on this field. It's going to select everything in this field, which is going to be, look like absolute gibberish, but what it is a highly secure key code. Copy it. Just copy it all. Copy. Now we're going to go over to our WordPress blog. And you want to make sure you're in the Curator plugin space. Click on that on the left. You just click in this field, Key of Digest from Curator. Just click in there and just paste that code. Click on the Import as Page radio button. Click Import Content. And in just a few seconds, the Curator plugin has added a page, not a post, but a page to your WordPress blog. It's populated that page with the current content from your Curator page as it is right now. It's going to inherit all your styles, your look, and your feel that you've already got in your WordPress blog. So you just need to give it a title. As I had mentioned before, it uses the WordPress title function to give it a title. So I give it a title. Over here on the right, I want you to notice a couple of things. Most importantly, the template. Curator selects and uses the full width, no sidebar page template. And this is really important. Don't change this. Curator needs that full width to fit all of the content. If you don't have a full width, no sidebar page template, you may run into problems. The content may not fit in here properly. We're working on adding narrower widths for the plugin, but for now you really need a full page, no sidebar page template. Most of the themes out there have it, but don't change this. You can add your page, put it under a parent page if you want to. So I could put it under the sample page, parent page. After that, that's it. All you have to do is publish it. And then you can view it. There it is. It looks fantastic. It's inherited. I haven't really done much with this theme in terms of customizing it yet, but it's inherited my theme, look and feel. And one thing I'll show you is that if someone clicks on one of these items on the Read More link, it's going to open the original content. So there it has opened up the original content in a new tab in your browser. So you get the benefit of the outbound links. The user gets, your visitors get the benefit of getting to actually go and see the full content. When they're done, they can just close that tab and they're still on your blog. They haven't left your blog, which is nice. You can also, of course, turn this into most themes offer the ability to turn a page into your home page. So I could make this my home page and then always have fresh content from today right there, right on my homepage as soon as people get there. So that's today's tutorial on how to do that. I'm going to put up now the URLs that you need to know in order to do this. The Curator website, of course, kuratur.com. I'm also putting up the link to the listing for the plugin on the WordPress plugin directory, but you can just go directly to it in your Add New Plugin section of your WordPress blog. And finally, I'm putting up the email address where you can reach Curator anytime. Emails here get answered within 24 hours and usually get answered within the hour. We are sitting right on top of our email at all times, and we would love to hear from you, your suggestions and your comments about the Curator plugin. Thanks a lot for watching with us today, and we look forward to helping you reach your goals using WordPress as a publishing system. Happy blogging!